You don't need that. So, all right, going back to the way we started out on the Yurchenko from the beginning and this micro body shape change to create the macro movement. It starts with the awesome way on the board. You jump to 2 feet on the board. What shape should you be in on the board? And there's different ways to teach this vault. And some of you guys, I don't know how Gene teaches. He does a pretty good job teaching this stuff. He won't admit it, but so the way, you know, we're not dealing with super, generally speaking, we have high school gymnasts. So they're not generally super strong, super fast, Simone Biles, freak athletes. We're dealing with kids that you need to be super efficient with the power that they have. So the way I teach the board, using these shape change things and this efficiency, is when you hit the board, you want to have your hips right over the balls of your feet, and in a nice hollow shape. All right, you don't. I know a lot of coaches teach getting your feet like that, but again, you need to be super fast to use that kind of technique. That's my like guys use that kind of technique. You see it at really high levels. I just don't think a lot of the girls that we're teaching have that kind of power and speed. So we need to be efficient as possible. So, what kind of sit do you do?
Pike and layout.
Pike and layout? All right, so if this is contrary to what you do, then you got to let me know. So here's the reason why I go about teaching a Tsuk this way. If you're hollow on the board, all right, you're in this nice hollow shape on the board. The next shape you're going to be in to create the potential to push off the table, hollow on the board, then you're going to side arch. So now you see that shape change, right? Here to here. And then when you're on the table, you snap back to the hollow and you can pull on your arms, right? If I know a lot of people, that's the way I go about doing it. So it's hollow, side arch, and then snap back to a hollow off the table. I think there are other techniques. I don't know how well this works for a Kaz, but I think it works pretty well for Tsuks. So that drill work over there works pretty well. The round off flyback stuff works pretty well for this. Do it? All right, we're going to go back over here. You guys know about doing Tsuk drills off your hands with the board, right?
Are you uploading these YouTube later?
Yeah, something like that.
He's like, I don't know, Carlos. There's no way to come here.
So who has
Straight
people
up.
that are
Google
going to
Drive
be,
or YouTube, yeah.
that you know of that are
Yeah.
going to be trying Tsuks for the
Gotcha.
first time and learning them in the gym? Anybody? Who has new gymnasts that are going to be trying Tsuks for the first time in your gym? Yeah? All right. All right. It's good. It's straight. Straighter than you put it down. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So have you ever done this to a football? Have you played with it? You want to put a different mat down that's a little more firm because this thing's going to squash down. I'm just going to slide it over. she's going to do a round off flip flop. So the suit timer to a back handspring. Why don't I move the board so I'm afraid you're going to miss your feet. So that's a good drill. It requires a lot of turnover, requires a lot of quickness. The problem with that drill is when you're transitioning to vault, the gymnast that tends to come off the table with their arms up, and you want to have gymnasts pulling the arms down as quickly as possible. And, you talk about getting your chest up and stuff like that. So there's a bit of a transition from this drill to getting the arms down and getting your chest up. So there are. Do you want to turn up on the suits? All right, so why don't we do this one more time? Oh, okay. You guys want to do this one more time, and then we'll turn the Tsuk and call it a day. Yeah. I'm going to stand back here and catch it so you can really get in. I only have 3 minutes, so about 2.5 now. So that's basically it. Are there any questions? So that means I either did a really good job or a really bad job. So if you guys have any questions afterwards, I'd be happy to talk to you. That's basically Tsuks and Yurchenkos in a nutshell. That's it. So the next seminar will start in about 2-3 minutes. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Got it. All right. So my name's Kurt Waller, and I coach gymnastics. Just so you know, and I own the American Academy of Gymnastics in Wheeling, and in Northbrook we have 2 gyms. And I'm the assistant coach at Glenbrook South. Okay, so I'm going to talk about Tsuks and Yurchenkos. I'm going to start backwards. But before I do that, I'm going to talk about the Yurchenko first. Before we go into the drill work, I sort of want to talk about the shapes of the vault. And before I talk about that, I want to explain that in order to create movement, you have to make body shape changes, right? So the flippy movement that the whole body does, that's the macro, the big movement. And then you have the smaller movements, which are how your joints change to create that macro. So the way this applies to a Yurchenko vault is it starts all the way back in the hurdle step and the lunge. You have to start in the hurdle, in a hollow in the hurdle. And I'll explain why. We're going to go through the whole sequence. So when you do the hurdle step, you want to be in this hollow shape. And when you lunge, you want to maintain that nice hollow, tight hollow shape. Because the next shape you're going to make is you're going to go from that hollow shape to a side arch in the round off. So you'll see where you're moving back and forth from a hollow to an arch to a hollow to an arch to a hollow, and that's how you create rotation. So you go from that hollow in the hurdle to a side arch, and then the next shape off your hand, off the ground is what? It's a hollow, right? So now you're on the board in a hollow, and then the next shape off your feet is an arch. And then the next shape off the table is a hollow. So if you don't start the vault, the hurdle in the right position, the whole thing falls apart. You see gymnasts go from one turn to another where it works really, really well, and then all of a sudden it fails miserably Normally, if you go back to the hurdle and the lunge, that's where the problem is. You can't go. You see a lot of a lot of times I see coaches say you got to get back to the table. You got to get back to the table. If they didn't start the sequence in the right shape, you can't make. It's not a natural body position change to get back to the table. Okay, so that's the first part of it. The second part of it is the position you have to be in on the board, on a Yurchenko. You have, if you slow the video down on the Yurchenko, you have an initial contact angle on the board before the board compresses, right? And then the board compresses down, and then it springs you back up. You want to be as close to vertical on the board in that hollow shape as possible. If your feet are behind you and you extend your hips and you make that neck shape arch, you're going to go flying up over the table. And then you don't get any push off the table and you're not going back. Right? This vault is sort of like a modified look back. Where you'll see that in the rover. So you want to have your feet in front and as close to the front of you as possible. And then you can extend your hips as hard as you can on the board. The board will compress and get you back to the table and make that sense of the next body shape change, right? So does that all make sense? So the very first point, the third point I want to make is the first point at which you start rotating on any tumbling path. And this vault's tumbling. It's not in the run and it's not in the hurdle. It's right when you land on that back leg. You run, you do your hurdle right here. Boom. That's where rotation starts. If you don't do it right there, for lack of a better word, the gymnast is screwed. There's really no other opportunity to create rotation. So that's the second reason why you want to be in this tight hollow shape, like here, like this. Just here, I'll go on the other side so you can see. Right here. Boom. Just like that. You push off that back leg. Right? Alright, so we're gonna do a little bit of more work to help set this stuff up. Okay? You guys want to come over here? When I do drill work for Yurchenkos, I use a panel mat. It's about the same height as a vaulting board, and it doesn't compress very much, so the gymnasts have to turn over the round off even more. Sort of like a batter in the batting box with the big weight on the, that kind of thing. So, introduce yourself to everybody.
I'm Erin.
This is Erin. She is our demonstrator. Erin, all I want you to do is a round off fly back. So you're going to do a round off and go backwards and land on your back on here. This is soft enough. If it's not, we can put it this way. All right. Hands go on the floor. She's got to warm up a little bit, so she hasn't warmed up at all. Pretty good. It's pretty good. Let's do 2 or 3 of those. So snap your feet together at the top a little bit early. So one thing that you want to look at on the round off for a Yurchenko or a double back or a double fold is the time when your feet come together. If you can get the back leg up and then snap your feet together at vertical or as close to vertical as possible, you're going to get off the floor. The gymnast's going to get up with their hands a lot earlier, right? It's all right. All right, you want to do one more? All right. So that's not bad at all. So where you guys see where she's landing on the mat? Right about there, right? Do you want to try a whip back? Yeah. I'm gonna pull this one off. Are you cool with this?
Yeah.
Before you go over, hold on a second. So the reason why whip back's a really good drill for a Yurchenko is it really requires that turnover. And then the next shape off of the whip back is you really should get your arms way back and then you pull your arms down. So it pretty much has everything that a Yurchenko has, you just don't have the table that you push off. Alright, so let's see how Aaron does that. No pressure. Yeah, when you land, just roll your back. I don't want you to get your heel toss. That would be comically embarrassing. So, a little bit more turnover, and then really reach back. Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna coach her, and then you guys can see. You can look at the video after you're done. So on that one, you were sort of in the hurdle. You were in a tightrope. Okay, you want to be nice and straight in the hurdle. You want to have your hips and your shoulders perpendicular to the way you're going. You don't want to and then you put it a little bit tighter off that back leg. Can you do a lunge? Here, you do it facing me. Okay. Lift up your front foot so you can have straight at that leg. Like that. And go up on the ball of your foot. This is what I want you to feel coming out of the hurdle. Okay? That you want to be bouncy off that back leg. So you bounce, sink. Right? All right, see it. One more time. On the hurdle, you're moving a little bit too far forward. A little bit more up and down. And then after you come off the ground, you nice arms up. Alright? Don't try too hard. Have fun. You guys do your technical stick? Now your scissors. Alright, cool. Alright, let's see it. Alright, so that's basically the drill. What kind of Yurchenko do you do? Yurchenko pipe? Off the table? Yeah? Alright. You found our best mat in all of you. I'm sorry. Neil's mad at me. Now he'll Neil a cup of coffee. But she's the one who ripped it.
I was gonna say, it's her, right? At least it's just her.
Do you wanna go do some drill work uphill? Yeah, warm it up. All right, let's do that. Let's go down there and do some drill work uphill. And then we'll go over some Tsuks. The Tsuks are different.